friends. Today we'll be presenting about successful communication in modern hospitality industry. And I'm Yabihin. This is Jiayi and Hui. So we'll start with types of introduction to communication. Okay, so communication is basically is the transmission of information, and there's a sender and a receiver, and the sender is a person who sends a message and the receiver is a person who receives the message. Sender usually encodes information into a message and sends it to the receiver, while the receiver, they usually decodes the message to understand what are the information sent by the sender, and then once they understood it, they will send a feedback back to the sender. And it is always a two-way process, and communication is always a two-way process, never a one-way process. Okay, so there are three types of communication: verbal communication, non-verbal communication, and graphic communication. So all these three types of communication, they are all used differently in different sorts of channels, like let's say speaking, writing, personal grooming, decoration, facial expressions, or even your body postures. So in verbal communication, it is a communication that involves four aspects: speaking, listening, writing, and reading. So any of these four that is being used, it is considered under verbal communication. Verbal communication is important for bondages or relationships with other people, with families, your friends, your relatives, or anybody, including in hospitality industries. You have to speak with your customers, otherwise there won't be any relationships between customers and employees, and the hotel's reputation will be bad. And so there are also language is much more of a human natural phenomenon, because so far human is the only species that are capable of speaking verbally. Other species or other sorts of animals, they only can use non-verbal communication, but they can't speak like us humans do. So we are sort of special. And so verbal communication, there are four sub-communications under it. That's intrapersonal, interpersonal, public communication, and mass communication. So for intrapersonal, what is intrapersonal communication? Intrapersonal communication, it's sort of a self-communication with yourself, like you are communicating with yourself in your mind. Whether is it you are self-talking to yourself, or you are having self-imagination, you are having thoughts or concepts in your mind. Yeah, these are examples of the intrapersonal communication, and usually it is not consciously driven. It happens in the time. It is not being controlled by your mind. So it usually happens due to a person's own past activities, his personal experiences, whether is it job related, work related, or outside, or whether being abused by someone, like parents or by bullies. This could all affect a person's intrapersonal. And so there are three primary components in intrapersonal, and that's self-awareness, self-regulation, and self-motivation. So what are these three components? Self-awareness is basically a person's awareness of his surroundings. What are the happenings in his surroundings? Like what is going on, and where is his level of position? How is it dealing with the things around him? So it is important for a person to have good self-awareness when he is in the hospitality industry, as customers' complaints or demands may arise, and he must be able to understand the situation, and then he should have a self-regulation to control himself, to have self-control, and to prevent himself from doing anything or saying anything offensive to the customers or being rude to the customers. And then, of course, at the end, he must have the self-motivation to boost his confidence and morale, to solve the issue, to do the right thing, to comply with the customers' requests or demands, or to solve their complaints. Importance is usually people with good intrapersonal communication, they will have high integrity and reliability as customers or even their employees will see them as more suitable to be approached to deal with problems or situations when they arise, as they have good self-awareness and the three primary components. So in interpersonal communication, it's a communication that only involves two persons. So it is used to usually to express feelings, information, attitudes, or behaviors. And no doubt that this is the most common used communication in our daily life, whether in anywhere, in work, in home, with friends, and it is also very important when it is dealing with customers. Failure to communicate in verbal communication, especially in interpersonal, will result in any misunderstanding or miscommunication with the customer, and customers may have it will give customers a bad impression of the hotel. And so there's also a technique called the mirror technique. What is a mirror technique? So basically, mirror technique is a technique where employee they follow the customer's gestures, like how the customer stands, their postures, how are they reacting to the hotel's policy or instructions or their regulations, or whether are they happy or not. So employees, they should follow them, basically mirroring them, and try to react and respond accordingly to the guests' expectations and demands. Examples is like such as checking guests in, like speaking to guests accordingly, complying their requests or demands, or having good communication skills with your other employees from either the same department or the other department, or even with your employees. So the important is this could enhance the guest expectations, their experiences, as good experiences are important to make the guests want to come back to the hotel again, and any sort of miscommunication or bad communication could result in a misunderstanding. Okay, so public communication. Public communication usually involves 3 or more people. Public communication is where a person has to have clear understanding with the receivers or the listeners, and as they will give feedbacks non-verbally, such as like eye contacts or personal body gestures. And there are also three components of public communication. That is to inform, to persuade, or to entertain. So to inform is basically where a person is standing or giving speech to people, talking about the importance, for example, the importance of recycling, the importance of health issues, the importance of education. Basically is to create awareness to someone, to make them feel the importance of something. And then there's also the speaking to persuade, such as those who are conducting direct distributing, or those salesperson, they will speak in a persuasive manner to persuade the guests or bypassers to buy their products or services. So they will usually speak in a convincing manner that will make the customers want to buy their products or services, such as offering high prices, low prices with good products, with long-year warranty and others. And of course, there's also to speak to entertain. Speak to entertain usually are those comedians or those actors, dramas. They speak to entertain the guests, to make them laugh, to joke around. Basically, they are like a stage clown, just meant to entertain the guests, whoever they are. And some people, they have anxiety or issues or fears while having public speaking. So, and that's called stage fright. And many people have stage fright because they are nervous, they are afraid of people looking at them, or when they say something wrong, people might laugh at them, and they don't like it, they have stage fright, they might just run off. And so examples are public speaking, or teaching, lecturing, presenting, or it could be even in a meeting with your employees or employers. The importance is it can build your self-confidence and as well as your self-motivation to do the right thing, to make the right decision. Mass communication is basically where a person or company or an organization that provides any sorts of information to a large group of people. It could be other companies, the government, basically it's the general public. Different communications have different, there are various different communication channels for mass communication, and it is also different than the previous three one, as this one is because this communication you don't know who you are communicating with, except that you know that you're communicating with the general public. Then the rest is all unknown. So and it's usually done for financial purposes or to create awareness. Some they want to advertise stuff to attract more customers, whether is it the airport, attractive tourist locations, they can put up leaflets or brochures to attract their customers to buy the products or services, or is it to create awareness such as the HIV, AIDS or any other awareness. And the examples are such as billboard advertisement, online advertisements, newspapers, social medias, radios, and many more. So the importance is that yes, definitely it will be beneficial to hotel or any establishment, and also it will be an increase of popularity and fame of the hotel as well as their reputation if the services are good enough, and also many people will acknowledge this hotel as a good hotel, like let's say JW Marriott or Ritz-Carlton. These are all famous hotels in Malaysia as recognized, and they are acknowledged as a 5-star hotel and under YTL group as well. Okay, so now I'll pass the time to Jai.
So I'm talking about what is the non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication is a word-less communication, and it is a body language. For example, for the non-verbal communication is facial expression, eye contact, your body posture, and the personal space with each other. And it is hard to control, and it happens subconsciously. It is the expression to express your real feeling. The example in hospitality is eye contact. You cannot focus the person. You cannot focus the person's eyes too long than 3 seconds. And the second one is personal space. You cannot go near with the customer and eat more and eat it. And it will make the customer feel uncomfortable. The third one is nodding your head when the customer requests you. And it is important in hospitality to understand the customer request and give a good impression to the customer. So now I'm passing the time to
So I'm going to talk about the traffic communication. So what is traffic communication? Traffic communication is the transportation of information and concept through symbol and imagery. So this communication uses traffic elements to communicate with people. Traffic communication includes symbols such as figure and glyph, images such as illustration and photograph, and also apathetic additional of color, substrate, and surroundings. So it is also a method of creating, producing, and distributing concepts through words and images to transport info, idea, and emotions. Graphic communication is also all origination concept of form, chart, and typography through comparison, finishing, and allocating of 2 or 3-dimensional product or electronic transmission. So here are some examples of graphic communication. is positively or negatively. Also, a good graphic communication makes people look great. A good graphic design can help you to give good first impression to the guests and also the people looking on. And also a professionally constructed graphic design can give positive opinions to your product, your service, and also your brand. So another importance of graphic communication is it will transport a message of professionalism and credibility. So usually people often look for a sign of professionalism so that they can convince themselves that they can be trusted. So it's important that you perform yourself in a possible way by investing a quality graphic design. So to sum it up, these are the aspects that can improve staff communication skills. As a professional staff, you must require to know all the three types of communication, that is verbal communication, non-verbal communication, and also the graphic communication. This will make you become a well-presented staff and you give great experience to your guests. So this will also let people acknowledge that you were a very